So the farm, where we have many of these cows who are also producers of nutrition for us, but also for the soil, for the earth, bringing the earth to life in a very special way. And that's why, in a certain sense, we have as our motto at Kimberton Hills Dairy this brief sentence that we create fertile ground for the development of people. Let's say that once more. We create fertile ground for the development of people. Doesn't say anything about milk, particularly. And it's partly because that is not just for the dairy farm, but the dairy farm is part of what we consider a farm organism, which includes a CSA garden, an herb garden, a workshop where we take care of bees, an orchard, a workshop that takes care of the estate, which includes a lot of woodland. Let's see if I'm leaving anything else out in terms of workshops there. Well, there are also the craft workshops, but in terms of our land work together, those are the primary working groups. And we all come together once a week to share resources and ideas and try to create an integrated farm. Okay, so it's not just the dairy, it's all of those groups that really have this as kind of their working motto. And the development of people, you can look at that in a lot of ways. You can look at fertile ground for that development in a lot of different ways. Obviously, we're talking about agricultural ground in a very specific way. But I'm sure all our schools could have a similar model, or other schools, other hospitals. You know, this group could also see that as a working model. But in terms of our particular farm, where we try to create that fertile ground, and the way that we want to help people develop through that is to really recognize that every human being has a spiritual core, a spiritual being that pre-exists this earthly life, and they can, out of their own inner freedom at a certain age or a certain stage in life, take it upon themselves to develop that spiritual core in that center in order to manifest something quite new and creative on the earth. And there are, obviously in this time and place, needs for those things to manifest that would bring peace to the world, that would bring life, renewed life. And in our particular context, we're working with people with developmental disabilities. And so that word development and, disability in connection to that has a very particular meaning for our people and the community that I work in. We're a community of about 106 people right now, which includes a lot of families with children and older people who are in a kind of retirement phase of life, and about 42 adults with developmental disabilities who don't live there with their families, but live with extended family households. And those people work on our land with us, with me and with all the other coworkers that I work with, as very, very key people on the different workshop areas. On the dairy farm, altogether, there are 12 people who regularly contribute to the work of the dairy farm, some on a very part-time basis. For example, this morning, Lisa, who was there, only works on Saturday mornings, helping to clean the barn and bottle milk. Whereas others, like Larry, who is the person with autism, has been there for some 30 years, working on the dairy pretty much full-time, and really has a sense that he knows that farm inside out, and is a very key person in the maintaining of that operation. Managers come and go, but Larry stays. So, there's that whole spectrum of people who contribute to our dairy work, and we all recognize that we need to help each other develop in that work. The dairy, I want to just also picture kind of what the whole property is like a little bit, and what animals we have. Now, if you look at a map that we've recently had made of our property because of the need to develop some new houses for our elderly people and some other components in the center of the village that have been built recently with some solar panels on a garage, and this map was surveyed, and it's on our wall in the dairy office. And you see there the torso of a human being with no head and with the arms and the legs missing. This is what the map really looks like. Very clearly, it has that look. And to me, that is an image, a little bit, of our community, which some of you may be familiar with the Lord of the Rings series and how hobbits are portrayed in that series, or in the stories, if you've read them. And we have a bit of a hobbit-like community where we're not real smart, we're not the powerful folks of the world. The Striders, we're not. We're actually, even physically, a lot of us are pretty small people. But there's a very strong center of heart forces and rhythm that comes into play in the community. And so that sort of torso without the head and the arms does, in a way, represent who we are as a community. And one of the things that we do in terms of the rhythm and heart forces being strengthened are caring for a lot of animals in a rhythmical way. Now, dairying is not new to that land. Camp Hill started there in 1972 as a community impulse with people with developmental disabilities. But the farmhouse that I live in dates to 1791, so it's over 200 years old. And the dairy barn is not much younger than that. The key, or the main part of it, is dating also to about that age. So as far as we know, there have been cows being milked there for over 200 years, and if you know about milking cows, it happens every day, usually twice a day. So that's a lot of rhythm that's been built up in that place with cows and with that kind of farming.